All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's training class for the master class. This is the sixth webinar we've done. There were four webinars part of the original 3-day training program. And then on Saturday, we held a copywriting webinar, which was really great with myself and Connor. And then today is going to be really cool. It's going to be a really cool webinar. I think that it's going to be one of the webinars that you're going to be able to extract maybe the most value from, especially if you've been implementing and following along on the first few webinars. This webinar is really going to be all about how to really find the leverage points in your business and increase conversion rates at different points. And so it's going to be really kind of action packed. And I think that every slide and every demonstration we go over will provide a lot of really cool value to you. And we've got a lot of really good demonstrations. So a few people are asking, Reg says, Canadian sniffles, are they? Yes, I caught the flu and a cold about 2 days ago, so unfortunately I'm a little bit under the weather, so just excuse my voice, but it's all right. I'm good to go, and I'm excited to be here. And let's see here. Can everyone hear me okay? And can everyone see the screen? Okay, fantastic. All right, so let's go ahead and just dive right in. This webinar will be, I don't know, anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. It really depends on questions and that type of thing. So, first thing I want to talk about is what we've covered so far, and I think that this is really important because there's a few really good reminders here. Okay, so one of the first things that we covered was driving traffic to a front end offer. In this case, what I taught was either using Teespring t-shirts or affiliate offers. Okay. Now, in the original training, the results were I spent $341 and I made $1,571 from Teespring. That was just from the t-shirts. So since the end of since the end of that training, those exact same campaigns they finished up, and I spent $702 and I made $3,532. And I'm going to show you some of those t-shirts in just a second. So let me actually show you those now. So I want to kind of start by kind of highlighting some of the things that were successful there. And we're not going to be talking about Teespring very much in this call. This is really the only point we're going to be talking about Teespring. And that's really just to close out how those campaigns finished up. The rest of the webinar, we're really going to be focused on those long-term businesses and increasing the leverage points there. But there's one thing that I really want to mention here. Well, in the training, I gave the example of Teespring, how to sell t-shirts. That was really an example of how to sell a front end offer. Okay. Selling a t-shirt is just one example of a front end offer. I really don't want you to limit yourself to just t-shirts. The good news is if you can sell a t-shirt, you can sell just about anything else. All right. Because what you've done is you've identified an audience that's interested in something enough to buy it. Okay. So you can expand outside of the t-shirt categories into other things like information products or other even physical products in your niche. But I don't want you to peg yourself into a hole of just t-shirts. You can make a ton of money selling t-shirts, but really what I taught you was how to sell a front end offer, not so much just the t-shirt side of things. So let's go to the t-shirts here and we'll close out a few of the results there. We'll come back to this ad because I want to share some cool results with you there. So you can see that these are a few examples of the t-shirts. So if you remember the limited edition Legion of Boom t-shirt that I created, I actually my original goal was 30 and I ended up overselling to 60. So one of the big things that I found was that, and I believe I mentioned this on the last training on the last day of the fourth webinar, was set a lower goal, set a goal closer to 20 or 30, especially if you're just starting out, because 9 times out of 10, if your shirt's selling, you'll oversell. All right. And I always find conversion rate increase once you hit the 80% mark. So this little green bar, it's really a psychological thing. When someone sees that, 30 or 40 people have already purchased this t-shirt, it's really a testimonial. It's a social proof that, hey, this is a good t-shirt and they're not crazy or out to lunch. So we ended up selling about 60 of these t-shirts. You can see this Megatron one, originally the goal was 20 and we sold 55. I sold 55. And then the limited edition Broncos Best in the West sold 50, or sorry, out of 50, we sold 65. Okay. So a lot of really good results there. And like I said, 9 times out of 10, when I set a goal, I'll surpass that goal. So I've seen some of you set goals of 50 t-shirts, and I would just suggest to set it closer to 20, maybe 30, depend until you get a little more comfortable, until you feel confident that you can reach that goal of 50. And a few things to keep in mind is, and we're going to talk more about testing and tracking today. Again, not so much on Teespring, but on the longer term stuff. But also, if you email Teespring and their support email is just support@teespring.com and ask to add Facebook tracking, what they'll do is I'll show you this one. They'll actually allow you to add Facebook tracking to your campaign. So this is a campaign that I launched like I think 40 on Sunday. Okay. And a really interesting thing happened with this, and I want to show you some actual data around this. And I actually used conversion tracking for this particular T-shirt. So you can see that we've got 4 days left. Actually, the campaign was supposed to end in a day and 5 hours, except I emailed Teespring to ask them to extend it just by a little because it was selling so well. So my original goal was 50. I set it to 50 again because I felt confident that I could sell 50 shirts. I've done this quite a lot, so I would still encourage you to think about doing 20 or 30 until you've had several campaigns that have reached 20 or 30 successfully. So I sold 56 and there's still several days left. So I want to show you my actual campaign here. So this is one of the ads for the Beast Mode t-shirt, okay? And you can see that we've got 14 conversions. And this is over the last 7 days. And the average cost per conversion is $4.63, okay? So I'm making $10 every single time we sell a shirt. So I'm making just over $5 profit as it stands right now for this ad, right? So that's not a bad split, right? Like, would you exchange $5 for $10? Just answer yes or no in the question box. Is that an exchange that you would do on a day-to-day basis? Absolutely, right? Because it's still a smaller number, you're still doubling your profit. But I want to again kind of drill into your head that there's no such thing as 100% success or 100% failure when it comes to anything in business, okay? And I also want to mention something that is really important to keep in mind in all aspects of your marketing campaign, and that's keeping in mind that people really like news. They really like to kind of keep on track of everything that's going on. Trends and news always tend to increase results. So the Seahawks played a game, and I've learned so much about football in the last few weeks because ever since I started selling football t-shirts. But the Seahawks played a game. It was on Monday, okay? So the Seahawks played a game. So look at on Monday, okay? So they won the game. It was a big game. Everyone was really excited. It's a really passionate team. Okay, so let's actually go to change the date and see the results of the campaign from Monday, okay? So keep in mind that the average cost per conversion over the last 7 days is $4.63. So let's change this to custom audience, and it changes it to December within a day of December 3rd. Now look at this, 8 conversions, and what's the cost per conversion now? $1.60. Okay, so the conversion rate went drastically down. So now, would you exchange $1.60 for $10? Of course you would, right? And so this is a really, really good lesson. People were really, really excited, really, really passionate. They were very emotional. And when people are emotional, they buy much more. The conversion rate is much higher. So this is a really good example of just people buying with emotions and how trends and campaigns work, and how, you shouldn't always look at averages. You kind of have to break your campaign down to see, okay, well, did certain days do better? Did certain times do better? And in this case, one day did do a lot better. And so to me, that indicates that, okay, on game day and the day after game day, I should increase my budget drastically because people are very emotional and they're buying at a higher rate. Let's see here. Summer says, did I change the price up? Yeah, so it's $21. It was the same price. It did nothing else changed. It was just the fact that the game happened. So do you see why this is important? I mean, you literally take from doubling your money to almost quadrupling your money. So it's a very, very big difference. So Brian's asking, what do you mean by cost per conversion? So basically what it means is on this day, for every $1.60 that I spent, I made $10. Okay, so I sold one t-shirt. So the profit there is about $8.40. So it's a very, very good split. Now, this is just for Teespring, right? But you can incorporate these same elements in not just t-shirt campaigns, but also your opt-in page and also sales pages. So keep in mind trending news and events. One of the websites that I really like is news.google.com. Okay. And so whatever niche you're in, go find out, go find out what's trending, what's happening in the news there, whether it's for health or for dating or whatever. Try to find different news articles that seem to be catching on, that seem to be very social and interesting, because those sort of things do increase click-through rate. And guys, we're going to get into how to increase your chances of getting your ad approved and all that stuff a little later on. But is this making sense to you so far? Capitalizing on those trends in the news, whether it's for your Teespring account or more importantly for your longer term business. Okay. Yeah, so it's really a matter of taking, doubling your profit to quadrupling your profit. So it is a very, very big difference. Okay. So that's really important. Like I said, we're not really going to touch too much more on Teespring today, but I really felt like that was a good example of just capitalizing on trends, capitalizing on on emotions. Whenever you can trigger an emotion in copywriting and in selling, your conversion rate will tend to go up. Now, generally, I find that negative emotions people are more likely to respond to: anger, frustration, fear, those sort of things. In the case of the football example, it was joy, it was excitement that their camaraderie of sharing in on a sport that was winning. Okay, so try to keep that in mind. If you don't have an ad that evokes emotion, or an opt-in page that evokes emotion, or an email that evokes emotion, then you're probably not getting as good results as you could be getting. And so think about that when you're writing your sales material. And again, if you didn't see that copywriting webinar that we did on Saturday, then definitely go back and check that out, because I think that will be really helpful in terms of identifying the sort of emotional triggers that your customers have. And there was a really good exercise about how to identify emotional triggers in that marketing piece. Okay. Um, I see questions coming in, and I'll answer those just towards the end of the call. Okay. So the second thing we covered last week was driving traffic to a squeeze page and building your opt-in list. And sorry, not last week. I mean in the original 4 webinars. So in the original 4 webinars, we made $249 at the end of the first training from a list of 43 opt-ins. Okay, we now have 439 opt-ins and have made $1,097 with a spend of $289. Okay, so I'm going to get to tracking a little later on. So how to track where these sales came from. They primarily came from 3 places: the post opt-in, and I'll go over that shortly, as well as EMA 4 and 5. Okay, so this is a good starting point, but to be honest, I'm really disappointed with these results right now, mostly because of things that I've done. So what the main focus of today's webinar is it's about showing you where you and myself are leaving money on the table, because I guarantee you every single one of you on this call are leaving money on the table somewhere. Okay, and so it's all about finding those leverage points in your business. Another thing I want to mention is when I first start the process of creating an online business, I don't focus on doing everything right away. Okay, I just focus on getting something up and then making small changes along the way. I made many mistakes in this process, and I had many frustrations. For example, I was sending traffic to a dead link for quite a while, and I probably lost 400 or 500 opt-ins in the weight loss campaign. That was an error kind of on my hosting company, which was a little frustrating, and it was my fault because I wasn't checking on the ad as frequently as I should have. But mistakes happen, frustrations happen, not just to people who are starting, but to everyone in this business. And so I'm going to share some of those mistakes and some of those frustrations, as well as some of those leverage points that can really help increase your results here. So, building an online business is really about adding layers and slowly and surely optimizing to increase profit and return. And so, that's really what we'll be focusing on over the course of the next few weeks, is focusing on that long-term business. Okay, I'll still talk about some Teespring stuff, but really I want you all to remember that the Teespring stuff is good, and you actually can make a lot of money month to month doing that. But let's just say Teespring all of a sudden went under, which isn't likely because we're sending so much traffic. But let's just say they disappeared, okay, or they changed the rules. You don't really have a good long-term business. And so I really want to drill into your head that if you can sell something on Teespring, you can still build a long-term business online. And so that's what we'll be focusing on in the next few weeks. And so with that said, Your job is really to increase revenue in your business by providing value to your customers and potential customers. In my honest opinion, I really think that conversion rate is a reflection of how good of a job you're doing in providing value to your prospect or customer, or at least communicating that value to your prospect and customer. And so in this training, I'm going to really provide insight into how to increase your revenue or maximize your revenue in these different hidden leverage points in your business. And one thing that I'm going to continue to come back to is there's no such thing as 100% success or 100% failure. And even though I've said this several times before, I think that this webinar is going to be the webinar that really gives you a big aha moments in terms of thinking, okay, there's a lot of places that I can go to increase the results in my business. There's not just one or two. And there's a lot of you on this call, and I see it in the Facebook group, that are really only looking at one or two of the leverage points in your business, and you're forgetting the other 8 to 12 leverage points, which really does add up over time. Okay, so with that said, there's really only 3 ways of increasing revenue in your business. Okay, number one is get your message in front of more people, i.e., create more customers. And I'm going to deconstruct what this means in just a second. Number two is get more money from each customer. And number three is sell more products to your existing customers on the back end. Okay, so let's deconstruct this. So number one is get your message in front of more people, i.e., create more customers. So let's talk about the leverage points here. So things that impact your return on investment on this number one point are your click-through rate. So the click-through rate is actually just, it's really a symptom of, or your cost per click is really a symptom of click-through rate. Okay, so really the big leverage point here is cost per click, but of course in order to reduce your cost per click, click-through rate is very important. So if we're able to increase our click-through rate and decrease our cost per click, we're able to make a better return on our investment. Same thing if we're able to increase the landing page conversion rate. Okay, and I'm gonna, for each one of these points, I'm gonna be going over in detail strategies to increase and leverage that conversion point even better. Okay, number two is get more money from each customer. Okay, the leverage points here are email open rate. So how many people are opening your email? Okay, more than that, how many people are clicking through on the links in your email and actually going to the sales page? Sales page conversion rate. How many people are purchasing that product? Product price point. So if you sold the same product for $9 and then you sold it for $19, would you be able to make more money overall? Okay, so those are all different leverage points in that second step that you can optimize in order to maximize your return on investment. Sell more products to your existing customers on the back end. This might be relating to upsells, cross sells, continuity, follow up, and remarketing. So there's several different leverage points. Is this making sense to you guys? Yeah, so Eric's saying this is Jay Abraham stuff. Yeah, and this is very basic business stuff, and a lot of it that Jay Abraham talks about. And if you don't follow Jay Abraham, I would definitely recommend you take a look at his stuff. Okay. So these are the main leverage points that I kind of extracted from those 3 points, okay, in an online business. And so we're going to really be talking about a lot of these leverage points in your online business today, and talking about how to increase those leverage points. Because, and I see some people saying, oh, I'm having 100% success on one campaign, 100% success on another campaign, and 100% failure on another. I promise you there's no such thing as 100% success or failure, and this will really open your eyes here. Okay, so so we've got click-through rate, cost per click, landing page conversion rate, email open rate, email click-through rate, sales page conversion rate, product price point, upsells, cross sells, continuity, and remarketing. And guys, this remarketing is kind of what I talked about earlier, which is getting that 20-to-1 return on investment, which is uploading to custom audiences your current email list, and also segmenting your audience. So we're going to talk about all of that today. Okay, so let's talk about a few important numbers in your business. Your goal is to constantly work to increase the lifetime value of your customer. Okay, and this is why I say it's when you're starting an online business, it's not important for you to do everything perfectly right off of the get-go. That's not going to happen. It's about adding layers over time that are going to help increase the lifetime value of your customer. Small tweaks to each of these leverage points create a big difference and drastically increase your ROI. And it's all about deconstructing the process and analyzing the leverage points to determine which areas can be improved and which areas can be improved today. If you can take one action a day to improve one of your leverage points, then you're doing something right. And I know for a fact that many of you are just focusing on the leverage points like click through rate and cost per click. And be honest here, how many of you have really only focused on maybe optimizing your ads, but you haven't really focused on optimizing your email follow up sequence or optimizing your post opt in conversion rate? Just to be honest with me in here. So we've got our number of people saying yes. Okay, so a lot of people saying yes here. And that, I understand that. I see that as a trend in the group. A lot of people's main focus is on the ad stuff, and that's good, but there's other stuff too. So why I like to share this is that maybe you have a bad day with ads. Maybe you can't get your cost per click down. All right. Well, that's okay because there's other leverage points that you can make up that extra cost per click for. You could double your conversion rate on your landing page, and then now you can afford to spend more on traffic. And so there's other things you can be focusing on and, kind of spending your time on to get better results. And especially when you're having a frustrating day with Facebook ads, your ads aren't getting approved, or your ad account has been banned. Well, have you grown a mailing list? Have you thought about communicating with your mailing list? Have you optimized your results with your mailing list yet? And if the answer is no or not really, then you should be spending some time on that as well in the meantime while focusing on the other stuff. So we're getting a lot of people kind of relating to this. So Michael's saying, since we can't do everything at once, what order should we proceed? And we'll talk about that for sure, maybe towards the end of the call. All right. So this is what I want to do, and I it's kind of a weird expression, but there's many more ways than one to skin a cat. All right. And so I want to walk through a few different examples for you. Eric H is saying, you talking to me? I'm talking to just about everyone on this call, right? And it's understandable. I think that this webinar is just going to connect a lot of the dots here for everyone on the call. Okay, it's going to really make you guys aware that there's more than just focusing on ads in your business to make it successful. So I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this. Okay, so let me just beat this to death a little bit here. So let's act on the assumption that our ad cost is about 20 cents, okay, which is about the average cost I'm getting for weight loss. It's not great, okay? I could get it a lot lower. To be honest, I rather focus on other leverage points in my business than focus on getting really low cost per click. Getting really low cost per click is good, but I'd rather double my conversion rate or double my on the landing page or double my conversion rate on my offer. So let's just walk through this scenario and say that we have a 20% cost per click on our ad, and our opt-in conversion rate is 20%. So of the people who click on the ad, 20% opt in, and of the people who opt in, 2% take the CPA offer or the affiliate offer that you present to them right away. So in this scenario, if we had 1,000 clicks, that would cost us $200. We'd have 200 opt-ins, and we'd make 4 sales at $25 commission each, and that's a $100 commission. So our profit at this point would be minus 100. Okay, so initially it might be really easy to say, oh well, crap, this is a loser. This campaign isn't doing well. All right, or oh, I can't get my ad cost down below 20 cents. I may as well abandon this campaign. Well, I want to show you some other ways that you can make this campaign a winner. Okay, so yes, let's say that we do reduce ad cost in half and we get it down to 10 cents, but everything else stays the same. Opt-in conversion rates at 20%, offer conversion rates at 2%. In this scenario, we break even, right? So we've taken a loser to something that's acceptable. Okay, so in another scenario, let's say that we take the conversion rate from 20% up to 45%, which is very doable, by the way. And I'm going to walk through some examples of how I did that today. And then the offer conversion rate stays the same. Well, in this example, we would profit $25, okay? Because we would have more opt-ins and more sales. And so you can see where optimizing and getting the cost per click down to lower, yes, that would be good, but it's not the be all or end all. If you're having trouble with that, or if you're so frustrated you feel like giving up for that day, just put that aside and move on to optimizing one of your other leverage points. And we're going to break down each of these leverage points today and talk about strategies to increase conversions in all these different areas. Okay? One more example. Ad cost stays the same, 20 cents. Conversion rate stays the same, 20%. What if we get the offer conversion rate up to 5%? Well, in this scenario, we would profit $50. And if we actually combined all of these different optimizations at every point in the funnel, then we would profit $350. And so you can see that it's not just about ad costs. And this is why from the very beginning, I've said that I worry less about CPC, cost per click. It's definitely important. If you can get those really low cost per clicks, that's awesome. And I'm going to talk about how to do that. But there's other places that often are actually easier and more reliable for you to increase the conversion rate more consistently, that have a bigger impact on your funnel outside of just ads. Make sense to you guys? Is this helpful so far? Okay, great. Okay. So let's first talk about. We're going to work through each of these kind of systemically. Okay, so we're going to talk with click through rate and cost per click first. But I noticed in the group that there's a lot of people who are kind of talking about getting your ads approved and that sort of thing. And so we're going to talk a little about that today, about how to get your ads approved. Now, I'm operating in probably the worst niche, which is weight loss, and hindsight's 2020. I probably wouldn't have chosen this niche again, but I am actually interested in it, and it's been interesting, but it's been very frustrating. And anyone who has been trying to make a business in the weight loss industry or weight loss niche during this training class knows what I'm talking about, because getting your ads approved in the weight loss category or the internet marketing category or the dating category, those are probably the three most difficult categories to get your ads approved. In other categories, you're probably not going to be really running into too many issues of getting your ads approved. So I want to share some of the strategies or some of the things that I'm doing that have been leading to get my ads approved. And I mean, there's a number of things that I'm doing, and I can't tell you. I think there's one thing that is a big factor to it, and I'll go over all of them. But I mean, as an example, I had, I think, close to 90 ads in the weight loss category approved yesterday. Only about $5 budget for each of them. And they're all running and getting traffic. And I submitted the ad, and within 20 minutes, they were approved. And so, you can get your ads approved in the weight loss category and these particular categories. And some of these tips are going to be helpful. Some of these tips you're going to be frustrated at because you may not have an account anymore, and we'll talk about that as well. So first thing is, I know there's a perception that Facebook hates marketers, and this is the same thing when I worked at Google. Okay, I worked in the AdWords department. Everyone used to say, "Oh, Google hates marketers. They hate affiliates." Well, that just wasn't the case. They don't hate marketers and they don't hate affiliates, because without you, they wouldn't be making as much money. What they hate is poor user experiences. And this is a really big differentiation. Okay. There's a lot of marketers out there who are positioning basically extraordinary claims, and that's what we called it at Google, was extraordinary claims. So something like lose 30 pounds in 20 days, or what was it, lose 27 pounds in 30 days. So that was something that I literally actually did. I personally lost 27 pounds in 30 days, and I wrote that on an ad. Okay, and so imagine my frustration when that ad got disapproved. Well, it got disproved because it was an extraordinary claim. And in my head, I'm like, well, that's ridiculous. I did it myself. And I know many of you can relate to that. Well, it doesn't matter, because the average person is not going to get that result. And so that's what Facebook's thinking. Okay. So they're thinking kind of about what the average person's going to do. And so for these very extreme categories like weight loss, like dating, like make money, you have to kind of dial down your claim. So instead of saying make $1,000 tomorrow, you could say something like discover how to get more prospects in your business funnel. Okay, so you could see that the conversion rate would probably drop a little, but having no ad running versus having an ad running is a big difference. And so that's really, really important, is that it really is about user experience. And try not to think about whether you think it's a good user experience. That's important. You need to think about it from Facebook's perspective, and think about all of the regulatory bodies who are regulating Facebook, the FTC and that sort of thing. They're looking at the ads on there and saying, oh, well, that's an extraordinary claim, or that's not something an average person can do. We'll come back to that point. This kind of wasn't really organized in the best way possible. But if you I personally just don't market to anyone under 18, especially in these categories, because your ads just won't get approved. Okay, I can't tell you how many disapproved messages I got, and it really is a game of just, looking at the feedback from their ad and then resubmitting it. over sexualized images. And I'll show you an example of an ad. It's one of the 80 or 90 ads that I got approved yesterday in the weight loss category. So they don't like overly sexualized images. So anyone too much skin, someone who's too pretty, either on your ad or on your landing page. Gimmicky claims, I talked about that already. I really pared down my squeeze page. And so I'm going to be talking about landing page conversion rate in a little bit, but I also just removed all images from my background. So I just have a white background on my squeeze page now. Um, so so I'll talk about this as that I did. So instead of broadly, initially when I started my weight loss campaign, I was really focused in on general, like find out how I lost 27 pounds, blah blah blah. And when I realized my ads were really having a tough time getting approved there, I narrowed it down a lot more into a more desperate problem, and a more specific niche problem too. So I narrowed it down to cellulite. Okay, so just about every woman has cellulite. They hate it. And so it's kind of an emotional, frustrating problem, and there's less kind of gimmicky claims about that. And so I'm going to show you an ad that I used, and it's been approved. Like I said, 80 or 90 different variations of that ad have been approved. Eric Chen shared this as an example on MyWatt, which is really good for checking direct linking offers. So let me just go to that here. So this basically tells you how safe or how dangerous a particular link is. And let's actually just take a look at one of these ClickBank products and see what their MyWatt score would be. And some of the ClickBank products might not even have MyWatt score because they're too new. So it's just gonna check this particular. Okay, so reputation of Venus Factor. So it's not really ranked yet, but you basically want to go here and check to see, is this trustworthy? And you want to determine if the site is, if this tells you that it's trustworthy, then it's probably safe to direct link to. The problem is a lot of weight loss offers and a lot of ClickBank offers, they wouldn't be considered trustworthy, and so it's really hard to get your ads approved for that. And so primarily I'm not doing direct linking in the weight loss category. I'm sending traffic to my opt-in page, and I'll show you those in a second. I've got 4 different landing pages that I want to show you that I've tested that have had a big difference on getting my ad approved. The other thing is tell them your intent in your ad. And so I know at Google, you could tell based on the ads that they were submitting, based on the ads that an advertiser was submitting, you could tell how experienced they were with AdWords or not. Okay. And so based on that, you could kind of dictate whether an ad's approved or not. And so for example, in all my ads, I tell them in the ad, you have to enter your email in order to get this report. And I think that that has to do with helping to get my ad approved because I'm being upfront. I'm trying to provide a good user experience. Now this is really important, and I mentioned this in the Facebook group somewhere. Was on one of the first days of my weight loss campaign, I had my ads disapproved like 30 or 40 times, and it was brutal. And so I found that even when it was like squeaky clean, my ad still wasn't getting approved. So I had to duplicate my landing page and change it to a different URL. And as soon as I did that, I resubmitted it on a different URL, and my ad got approved. And so sometimes you need to change your URL in order for it to get approved, if it's been disapproved too many times. And this is the thing that you're probably going to get a little frustrated about, especially if you've got a new account. I really think good account history has a big emphasis on this. I know at Google and AdWords, it was a big part of it. I've had my Facebook account for a very, very long time. And so I think because generally I've been white hat, I've had good offers, that really plays a quite a large role on whether my ads get approved and so on and so forth. If your account has been banned, try to get in touch with them. I know a number of people are going through that frustration right now. I did post a link in the group about if you have a registered business, signing up for a business account. Eric H., did you end up signing up for a business account by any chance? I think I saw you message on here earlier. I'll let him kind of answer. So I think that that's important, good account history. And then, yeah, persistence beats resistance. I've had so many ads rejected before it actually got approved. And I'll actually show you I'll actually show you one of my ads. So Eric says they needed a $1,500 a month commitment for to qualify. Okay. Actually, I think I might have a way around that. Let me just test that first, Eric, and then I'll get back to you maybe later on tonight or tomorrow. Just give me a sec. Looking at some of the questions here. Okay. Yeah, so you would need a registered business account, but I'll talk about that more. Maybe I'll post a case study because I think I have a kind of a loophole around that. So let me show you an ad that has gotten approved, okay? For the weight loss campaign. Okay, so can everyone see this? Okay, so you can see here that what I did was I used Jennifer Lopez, and basically this is something that I've experienced throughout most of my niches, not even just internet marketing or weight loss, but in all categories. Having some sort of celebrity tied to your campaign helps increase conversion rate because for whatever reason the general public seems to think celebrities are trustworthy and quality, which we all know isn't necessarily the case. So not only does it increase your conversion rate, but I've had this ad approved. So Jennifer Lopez cellulite. Enter your email and get Jennifer Lopez's tip to get rid of cellulite, available for the next 6 hours only. You can see who I'm targeting. 36 and 38, female Jennifer Lopez. Not the best click through rate. The conversion tracking's not really working here for this particular campaign because of kind of a convoluted thing that I did, which actually helped increase conversion rate. I'll show you that in a second. But I got about 80 or 90 of the 80 or 90 of these ads approved yesterday in the weight loss category. And that is, I had about 5 different figures that I used, and I'll go over the different testing that I used for this. But my weight loss ads are getting approved. Like I said, it took about 10 to 20 minutes to get these ads approved, and I think part of that is because I do have, I guess, a longer account history. But also, I'm not doing anything shady, and I'll show you my landing page in a second. That's kind of going to be the next thing we're going to talk about. Let me look at the questions here. Yeah, Steve says, what about image copyright? It's a good question. So, guys, I've said this a few times before. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not like using a celebrity's image. Generally, you're not supposed to do. I do it. I don't have any issues with it. The worst you're gonna get is you're gonna get a letter saying take that ad down. Facebook tends to approve it, so use it at your own discretion. But I don't worry about that. So Eric's asking, do you manually create all these ads? I do create these all myself. Steve says that's good enough for me. Perfect. Okay. So one thing I want to point out here, and I'll come back to this in a second, is the age group, and I'll talk to you about how I'm split testing this because that's really important here. Is there any questions about getting your ad approved? I know it's really frustrating, and it's kind of like one of these, it's like shrouded in mystery a little bit about how to get your ads approved. But I am getting my ads approved in the weight loss category, literally hundreds of them. This is the best pieces of advice that I can give you based on my experience in getting your ad approved. Eric says, have you ever received a cease and desist? I actually haven't. So Sandy has a question about testing. I'll get into that shortly. Let's see here. Dina's saying, did you use Social Leads Freak for this ad? I actually didn't for this ad. Yeah, Dell says 80 ads. Yeah, at least 80 ads. I think it was closer to 90. I'll go over how I came up with that figure and how I strategically made that. It was actually it took me about, I don't know, maybe an hour to do all those ads, and I'll talk about that here on the next slide. So let's talk about optimizing for click-through rate and CPC. I'm going to go over methodical split testing of ads, and this is really the most important thing, okay? And Christy's asking, why did you use the number why only 6 hours? So that has something to do with increasing conversion rate on my landing page, and I'm going to share results of that shortly. David says, I was able to use a naked photo of Jennifer Aniston and said, get Jen Aniston's body now as my headline, and it got approved. Someone said that on the Facebook page, if you use a celebrity, you can get away with so much more. Yeah, I think that was Eric H. that said that. And I mean, I'm surprised you got a naked photo of Jennifer Aniston. That's probably a little bit of a ticking time bomb. Hopefully it keeps running. But yeah, I mean, I think that what Eric when Eric said that you can get away with more when using a celebrity, I think really why that is it's because celebrities are generally good looking and toned. And when you reference the celebrity's name in the ad and you have their photo, it makes sense. However, if you were just kind of making a general claim about how to lose cellulite and you had a really beautiful picture of a woman there, they would say that that was unrealistic. And so, because you're using a celebrity and because celebrities are generally good looking, that's generally why you're able to quote unquote get away with more. But it's more a factor of you've listed a specific name and there's an image of that specific name. Does that make sense? Yeah, and Eric just said in the question box, and this is a really big point, easier to target an audience. And that is a very big factor here is your audience. Who do you target? And how closely is your ad matching your audience? And that's very, very important. Okay, so let's talk about that. So again, just like the whole system, the whole funnel, there isn't 100% success or 100% failure. In click-through rate and in cost per click and in your ads, it's the same thing. You want to break everything down, every part down. And so this is a process that I'm using, all right? So first off, these are the different elements of an ad. Headline, image, body copy, newsfeed, right-hand side ads, age, interest segments, country, okay? And so these are the different things, these are some of the different things that you can test for each ad. So there's quite a lot of different things. So I never test more than 1 to 2 interests in a segment. And this is really important. One of the big mistakes that people make when they're creating an ad is they like, let's just again, we'll take the weight loss category. They go and they add self magazine, they add diet, they add, all sorts of different interests and segments. Okay, well, if you do that, you don't know who's responding. Even if you get 5 opt-ins, you don't know if that's someone who was interested in diet. You don't know if that's someone who's interested in Jennifer Lopez's body. You have no idea who's responding to that ad. And so it's really a game of collecting data and identifying who the right audience is for that offer. And so you don't never want to use more than 2 interests in a particular audience test. And so usually what I'll do is I'll start with one interest. So take Jennifer Aniston or Jennifer Lopez. So I'll start with Jennifer Lopez and I'll do the United States. And then I change one thing per ad. So consistent is Jennifer Lopez, United States. Okay. So first thing I'll test is 2 different images. So I'll use 2 different images of Jennifer Lopez and I'll basically see which image has a higher click-through rate. Okay. Once I determine a winner from that, um, and actually there's a really good tool, let me just Google it for you, to determine how to determine which one's a winner. Um, and it's by Perry Marshall. Perry Marshall split test tool. So what this basically does is if you enter in the number of clicks and the click-through rate, it will tell you within a certain degree of certainty whether that is the winning ad or not. Okay, so this is a really handy tool. I'll post it in the group a little bit. But basically, I'll use that to determine which image is a winner. And then once I have a winning image, I'll basically test a different headline. And then I'll use that same tool to figure out, okay, is this a winner? And then once I do that, I'll test 2 different ad bodies. Okay, so once that's all done, I've got the image, the headline, and the body copy that I'm going to use for the same segment, Jennifer Lopez and United States. From there, what I test is the different age groups. Okay, different age groups respond very, very differently, especially something like weight loss, or more specifically like cellulite. So someone who's 18 to 20, probably less concerned with cellulite because they're young and they don't really have as much as someone who's maybe 29 to 50. But the question is, within that demographic, 29 to 50, which is still very large, who's going to respond the most? Okay. And so testing the different age groups, you're going to be able to see, like literally the different age groups can have a massively different click through rate. And like I'm talking the difference between 0.1 and 0.5. And so having that big of a different click-through rate will drastically drop down your cost per click. And so you want to basically, you just have to get really anal about testing. That's what's going to lead to the cost per click, because there is no magic formula or shortcut outside of that. It's really hard to guess what's going to trigger an emotion, what's going to trigger a response, and what demographic's going to do it. And so there's sites that you can use to kind of hack your way to figuring out what that age group is and what that demographic looks like. For example, Quantcast or Magazine Ad Kits. Sorry, can't speak today. So if you just Google like a magazine in your demographic, and every niche has different magazines. This is Self Magazine in the weight loss category. I just Googled Media Kit, and you can see that they give you the demographics. Median age is 36. Okay, well, maybe I'll test that as a specific ad group first and see what the click through rate is. But still, even with this information, there's so many different factors that can change and can cause a different conversion rate with your landing page, that it's still important to test the different age brackets to figure out, okay, what's working. And doing that will really help you figure out what's triggering a response, who's triggering a response, and that will overall increase your return on investment quite drastically. Is that making sense to you guys, that little formula there? Let's see. Oh, so age brackets, this is what I do in terms of increments. I do like I listed here, 18 to 20, 21 to 23, 23 to 25. Okay. Okay, let's talk about landing page conversion rate. I'm excited about talking about this because this is one thing that I made progress on. So I kind of went through 4 major changes in my landing pages since I first launched the ad campaign. And I'll show you those. And they literally went from starting at 5% to 10.5% to 18% to 33%. So this is what I'm talking about, different leverage points. If you haven't tested a different landing page yet, and you're spending all your time on having the cost of your cost per click, maybe spend a little bit of time on doubling the conversion rate in your landing page, because that might be a lot easier. So you want to look at the low hanging fruit. Sometimes getting your cost per click down can be very difficult, can be very time consuming, and doubling your conversion rate on your landing page could be a lot easier. Yeah, so it is great, Steve, and I'm going to show you, and you can see very clearly the different things that led to the different results. So first, let me actually show you the landing pages here. Okay, so version 1 was this guy, and this was with Unbounce, and Unbounce was a landing page what would you call it, landing page builder that I used in the whole process. I like Unbounce a lot. It's very easy to use. And more importantly, I didn't want you to have to output more cost before you made a return on your investment. That was important for me, okay? But this landing page is only getting 5%. Okay, not only that, I just want you to take a look at the URL. You can see it was fat loss -6. This landing page got a bunch of disapprovals. When I changed the landing page to rid pounds, exact same landing page, I got approved again. So it's just because I changed the URL. Okay, so this is version 1. Actually, this was version 2. I had another version that had a no pink background. And then I actually had another version that was kind of pared down a little bit here. So this is kind of a little bit of a later version. Okay, so you can see the difference here, this versus this. And I just want to point out, I'm using lead pages here. I was testing out a different landing page provider. A few people have asked my opinion on lead pages. I think it's pretty good. I mean, it's easy to use, but I find it limiting in certain areas. I would still recommend, if you're looking for a more full feature email funnel or sales funnel builder, I would actually suggest Optimize Press. I wouldn't suggest lead pages at this time, but anyways, I just wanted to give that a try. So that's kind of my honest opinion on it. Okay, so this is one of the other versions, and this version was converting at 18.5%. Pretty decent, but I'm still frustrated because I figured it would convert more. By the way, you can see that on the background's like all white, very, very pared down. There's no before or after picture. This actually helped me increase my approval for Facebook ads. So one thing that I really wanted to test was, what if there was a countdown clock kind of saying, okay, you only have a few minutes to opt in. And that's where on the ad you saw that, oh, you only have 6 hours to get the free report. So you can see up here it says it's gone in 6 hours, but there was no countdown clock. So the only change that I did, and let me show you that here, is I created this page. Okay, so you see what I did? This is actually a plugin, and guys, this is a paid tool. It's not the cheapest tool. It was, I think, $200, but for how much it's increasing my conversion rate, and I'm going to implement it on everything, I found it was definitely worth it. So just give me a minute. I need to get some water here for my cold. So okay, so you can see that it's literally counting down. So when you put clock in someone's face, the conversion rate like goes insane. This took my conversion rate, what was it, to 33 or 38? Yeah, 33%. Okay, so really, really, really small changes, lead to massive results. So I can promise you, adding this countdown clock took a whole lot less effort than having my cost per click. So do you guys see what I mean about different leverage points in your funnel and the leverage points that you can take immediate action on now? Okay. So yes. Okay. So a few people are asking. This tool is by Ben Atkins. It's called timer something, Timerlay, I think. I'll post the link in the mastermind group. Like I said, it's not mandatory. This is just one method I use to increase my conversion rate. There's literally probably 1,000 other ways that I could have increased my conversion rate this much through different copy, different emotional polls, different images, and that sort of thing. Again, I was just looking for low hanging fruit. I knew that urgency kind of always increases conversion rate. I added that, it drastically increased my conversion rate. Obviously, by doing that, it drastically decreases uh, my overall spend. Yeah, so a few things can happen. Someone's asking what happens after 6 hours. So you can, and by the way, guys, you can put this tool on your sales pages. So now, anytime I promote an offer, what I'm going to do, and I'll talk about this later, you can put this clock on affiliate pages. So, for example, imagine you were promoting an affiliate offer and you said in the email, in the next 24 hours, if you purchase right now, I'll give you a special bonus of whatever it is, right? And after the 24, if they buy within the 24 hours, they get this bonus, and they go to the affiliate sales page, and it takes 2 minutes to add this, really easy to do. And they see that 24-hour clock. I really think it's going to increase conversion rate. So I think that's definitely something I'm going to add to my sales funnel this week, and I'll share the results with you next week. Okay, I'm going to talk about my free report as well, guys. I made some changes there. Okay, so just hold up here. Yeah, so this is a one-time fee. I'll post a link. Like I said, it's $200. So it is, I guess, quote unquote expensive, but I look at it as cheap because the conversion rate's just a really good return on investment. I'm sure there's free tools out there. It's just that this one's really easy for me to use. Um, okay, so that's that. So I mean, like, that's a really big difference on your landing page. So you need to look at different leverage points. So increasing your conversion rate on your landing page, if that's not something you're testing yet, then spend some time testing that because that's really going to make a big difference on your overall return on investment. Okay. Um, Simple white background. I use the timer. The timer really made a big difference. Only difference between 18 and 33% was having a timer. I mean, that's one change. And actually, what I'll do after this is I'll post it. It's about a 6-minute video that I made about split testing. And one word changed, increased conversion rate from 9 to 18%. Okay. Okay, so pre-sale pages. So this is something that I'm sure many of you are interested in. How many of you have heard of pre-sale pages or are interested about learning more about pre-sale pages? Okay, cool. Okay, so what a pre-sale page what a pre-sale page is basically it's like it's like a sales letter to the sales letter. It basically warms the prospect to you and to the idea of being presented with a sale. And so if you remember back to one of my original training, I was telling them to opt in for a CPA offer. long story short, it took me forever to get approved for that CPA offer. The CPA offer turned out, in my opinion, to not provide a good user experience for my list. And so I got rid of that. And initially I just, I didn't even really have a free report. I was just sending them right to an affiliate offer, and that was really hurting things. So I added a pre-sale page. So I made my free report, the report on cellulite, into a pre-sale page, and this increased conversion rate, like immediate conversion rate, from 1% to 3.5%. So that's, again, a good leverage point. It's not huge, but it does add up. And my pre-sale page is so ugly that I know that I can increase the conversion rate. So let me actually show you that, what I mean by that. Okay. So after someone enters in their email here, the page that they're immediately taken to is this one. Okay, read your cellulite report now. No matter the season, tone bottom, blah, blah, blah. Basically, it's content. Well, it's a sales pitch under the guise of content. So I start talking about different celebrities and how they get rid of cellulite and that sort of thing. But I also mentioned these stars have created their own dimple busting regime with foods that they love. But it's pretty similar to the program outlined here. And if you go to this program, it actually takes you to an affiliate to the affiliate page. So that's what the pre-sale is. It's warming them up to this affiliate offer. My name is Joe. Okay. And so the conversion rate to this offer now increases quite a lot because it's kind of you're providing value before you're selling them. Lead page. Okay, and you can kind of just see I do that a number of times. And at the bottom, it says get the celebrity cellulite program now. Click to continue. I did this again in lead pages. You can very easily do it in Unbounce, but having a pre-sale page was really helpful. So some tips for creating a pre-sale page. And again, this is really ugly. Ugly doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't convert. It is converting. But I'm going to try to optimize it more for next week. So this would be another leverage point in your process. But basically what you want to do is you want to provide the content that you provided on your actual landing page. And so in this case, I really wanted to use celebrities in order to increase conversion rate on my landing page, okay? And so I needed to figure out, okay, how can I draw a bridge between celebrities and a cellulite product? And so I did that in my pre-sale content. I did that by basically connecting the dot between cellulite and celebrities, and then the program that the celebrities follow is very similar to this program. And so it's a bunch of it's under the guise of a report, but it's really a sales page to the sales page. Does that make sense? Yeah, Mitch says it's like holding her hand before the kiss. Exactly. Yeah, a tripwire. Did you write the copy for the pre-sale page? Yeah, I did. Cool. Okay, have any of you used a pre-sale page before? Okay. Yeah, and so just so you guys know, I changed my email copy and I'll send an update to this. So my free report is now this link, right? Okay, so we've got some no's, some yeses, but it's a really good idea. And again, it's an extra step. So don't overwhelm yourself. Look at all these things as adding layers, right? Some of you right out the gun were able to build mailing lists very quickly, be able to nurture them. So this would be a next natural step for you to do. Some of you are still working on getting your opt-in page up, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just want to keep these things in mind because all these things add up to give you a better return on investment and overall a higher average customer value. Okay, so that's very important. Okay, let's talk about email open rates. So again, that's the next step in the after someone opts in their email, you want to talk about email open rates. So let's see here. You can see some of the email open rates for a follow-up series: 87.5%, 38.3%, 56.1%, 51.9%. Bunch of different email open rates there. And I'm going to share some examples of what gives a good email open rate. Now, why do you want a good email open rate? Obviously, you want it because you want more people reading your message in order to click on your ad, right? The more people that click on the more people that click on the link. The more people that click on the link, the more likelihood you have to actually getting a return on your investment and actually getting someone to purchase that offer. So Getting a good open rate really starts with building trust and value in the first place. So, a few things. You want to make sure you've got the right audience. So, you want to make sure that your message is closely targeted to your audience. So, I'm going to be sharing a lot of information about cellulite. I'm targeting just women. So, sharing cellulite in women, as well as more broadly weight loss. Cellulite was kind of a micro niche within a niche in order to funnel them on and just help with my targeting a little bit more. But I'm going to broaden out into all weight loss category. But I'm going to start with talking about that from kind of my own experience and that sort of thing. Um, Segmented lists and segmented offers equals higher value to readers. And so I'm going to talk about segmenting your list today. I'm going to show you some examples of how to do that. So let's put a pin in that for now. But basically, you just need to make sure that your offer is closely matched to your audience. Subject lines. This is really important. Subject lines are basically the biggest factor as to why someone would open your email. I find subject lines that pique curiosity and ask a question always have really high open rates. You probably notice that a lot of my subject lines have a question mark in them, and that's because humans don't like open loops. When you ask a question, they want to know the answer. Okay, they get curious, and it bothers them so much that they need to figure it out. The other day this is a really random story, but the other day I was I was standing in a building, and someone said, "Oh, in the background you can see the airport tower." And so I was looking and I was looking, and I was like, "I can't see the damn airport tower." And everyone was like, "Yeah, you can see it. It's right there." And like, it was the stupidest thing. I didn't need to see the airport tower, but like my mind was so fixated on that open loop. Where's the airport tower? I had to find it in order for me to satisfy my I guess curiosity. It's the same thing with emails. When you ask a question, you open a loop. Humans like to close loops, and so they need to open the email in order to get resolution there. And that's actually the same for click through rate in emails too. When you try to get, basically, you should pique curiosity in your email and get the link to kind of close the loop. I see a few questions coming in here, and I'll answer those in a little bit. Okay. Um, Okay, so to avoid spam filters, and this is a question Dita just asked, things that trigger spam filters, if you're in the internet marketing category, your spam rating is probably just automatically going to be higher. Things like having excessive capitalization, talking about money, excessive punctuation, those are all going to kind of trigger your spam score a little bit more. The higher your spam score means that the more of your emails go into spam filters, and means less people are getting them delivered, and therefore you're kind of diminishing your overall marketing results. Um, Allison says, is asking a question on Facebook ad copy a good thing? Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you can pique curiosity is a good thing. Humans they hate having those open loops, okay? So here's a few examples of different things that had good open rates. So you can see this sent to 5,846 people, and I had 953 open, which is, just under 20% open rate, which is actually good for this industry. So change your day ? Um, Here I use specific numbers. Specifics always sell. 1,000% discount. So you can see that I increased my open rate by, several percent. I had 1.3 open it out of basically the same number. The ultimate tool, ... Well, what's the ultimate tool? I had a high number open rate. Instructions attached. Again, like what instructions are attached? Splitting hairs ? And then here's some subject lines that didn't get a good open rate. So this is all basically roughly for the same audience size. So I had half the number of opens for Home Shopping Network for IM. Okay, didn't pique curiosity. Early Birds and West Hollywood Party. People just weren't interested. Okay, so you can see the kind of trends in open rates as well as click through rates that really lead to getting better results. And these are really important because it's just another leverage point. Okay, does this make sense to you guys? And has this training webinar been helpful so far? Have you gotten some value out of it? Awesome. Okay, great. So you can see where there's so many leverage points, and really the goal of this training webinar was really to kind of open your eyes to there's more than just ads out there. That's obviously important. You need to funnel people in, but you should be focusing your time on other areas as well, because I guarantee that if you haven't spent any time here, you can easily kind of make up for not having a low cost per click, or actually make it very profitable. Um, some good questions. I'll answer those shortly. Okay. So, once we get our open rate up, how do we get our emails clicked on? And this is just time and time and time again, I find very important. Shorter emails versus longer emails. Okay. Shorter, and there's pros and there's cons. Okay. So shorter emails tend to have a higher click through rate. Longer emails tend to qualify the click a little better. So it kind of depends on what your goal is. I always find that 3 links total in the email, 2 links in the body of the email, and 1 link in the PS. And I'll post an example of this in the group. I should have included in this presentation. With a strong call to action. Click here to discover how celebrities are eliminating their cellulite. Okay? So you want to include 2 links in the body and 1 link in the PS. You also want to create a sense of urgency. So remember that timer relay I showed you earlier? Again, that's an additional plugin. There's probably free tools out there. But basically, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go to all of the affiliate products I'm promoting, and I might offer like some sort of bonus if they purchase within 24 hours. I think that will drastically increase conversion rate. And I'm going to talk about how to track conversion rate as well, because I'm sure that's all something that you guys want to know about. How do you actually track where your sales are coming from? Um, so, so we'll talk about that. So yeah, creating a sense of urgency. So offering some sort of bonus is another leverage point you can look at, using timer relay on your affiliate products. And segmenting lists, targeting offers have a higher click-through rate. And I'm going to talk about how to segment lists in just a second. Okay, just give me one sec. So Allison, I'll answer your question just towards the end of the call, if that's okay with you. Okay, so let's talk about remarketing and diagnosing your list. Okay, really, I just want you to kind of, this is going to sound so lame, but think of yourself as a detective, and always remind yourself, anytime you have a success, anytime you have a failure, remind yourself nothing goes perfectly, and go through and diagnose what went right and what went wrong. And you should just make this an exercise. So let's talk about customer segmentation. So I'm going to actually show you. And I usually start segmenting my list once I get to like once I get to about 500 emails. So this is a mailing list that's got 2,994 subscribers on it, right? This is with Aweber. You can get to this just by going to subscribers, manage subscribers, and basically you'll get to this page here, and you can select show all. And so I want to talk about how to segment your list. So really cool thing that you should be doing, and this ties in with the Power Editor, and this ties in with getting that 20-to-1 return on investment. And so I talked about that earlier, and that's with custom audiences. So you basically want to create segments. So let's talk about this here for a sec. So you can basically segment your email list by action. So let's imagine this. Imagine we could segment your email list by people who didn't open their email. So what if we could figure out who didn't open the last email you sent, okay? And you could test a new subject line in order to get a higher response. Or what if you could segment by people who opened it but didn't click on the ad? Well, then maybe you could test a new call to action. What if you could segment your mailing list by links clicked? And then, for example, if they clicked on a link but they didn't purchase it, you could test a reminder email about a discount. Or you could start remarketing them on Facebook. So let's say that in my first email, I email everyone and I say, hey, make sure to download the cellulite report. People click on it, but they don't purchase the product. Well, I can actually create a segment in Aweber or my email provider of people who clicked on the link, and then I can upload that segment into Facebook ads, and I can start marketing my offer to them directly. Okay, either through a pre-sale page, which is what I would probably do. Getting your pre-sale page approved would probably work better than actually sending them directly to the offer page. So let me actually show you here. So if you go to manage subscribers, manage subscribers, that gets to this page. And I'm just going to show you with this list because it's a little bigger to play with. Like I said, I usually don't start segmenting until I have about 500 subscribers on my mailing list. So I'll start segmenting my weight loss list probably tomorrow. and I'll post a video of the steps that I do, and I'll post it as a case study in the group. So what you want to do is you want to select field, and there's so many different things you can search. You can find people with a certain name, where they were added, what city they're in, what country they're in. If you have basically like a geographic offer, but what I want to find is links clicked. Okay, so links clicked, and then you click here, and it basically loads all the emails that you emailed out to them. And you can kind of see all of them. So let's just click here and then select search. So you can see 11 subscribers in this particular mailing list. Click this particular link. Okay, and let's actually go try another one. Search. So we had 94 subscribers. Click this affiliate link, a traffic magnet. Okay, so 94 subscribers. Well, what we can do is a few things. Well, if it's our own product, we're able to determine who bought or who didn't buy. So you can exclude buyers from this. If it's an affiliate product, you kind of have less data to work from. But what you can do is you can save this segment. So we can save this segment as clicked traffic magnet link. And you can see it saves down here, so you can access it any other time right here. Okay, so you can do that, and what you can do, what I suggest you do, and I suggest you start doing this to segment your mailing list to figure out the interests they have. So imagine you emailed your mailing list an offer on cellulite. You could collect the names of people who, you could collect everyone who clicked on the cellulite link, and you can add it to a custom segment of people who you know are interested in cellulite offers. Maybe you email your email list next an offer about supplements. You can create a segment of people who are interested in supplements. And what I would suggest you do is export your CSV. So basically export this list here. Okay. And basically, you can now upload this into Power Editor into custom audiences. So, for example, if I know that these people clicked this link and they didn't purchase, and I upload this to Facebook custom audiences, maybe I could actually say, hey, I noticed you clicked on this ad. Why don't you get, if you purchase this offer, I'll give you a special bonus, or incentivize them somewhere. So with segmentation, you're basically able to tailor your message much more closely. You're able to remarket them with Power Editor and therefore be able to get better results. And so that's something that I'm going to focus on this week with my weight loss audience. And I'll share my results with you next week in detail to basically get that higher return on investment, that higher open rate. So this week I'm really going to be focused on optimizing my other leverage points. Does this segmentation stuff kind of make sense to you guys? I know it's new and it can be a bit overwhelming, but it's important to basically just understand your list as much as possible. So every time you email your mailing list, you should really start to get a sense of the interests that people have. The people who clicked on a certain link are obviously interested in that certain subject matter. So being able to segment them into a specific audience of people who are interested in cellulite offers is a good thing. Maybe they don't buy this cellulite offer, but they're interested in cellulite offer. If you promote another product, they might buy that one. Is this making sense to you? Let's see here. So Phil says, this is great, Brittany. Been using AW for ages, but wasn't aware you could do this. Yeah, you can do this with 9 out of 10 email providers. It doesn't have to be Aweber. So Pete says, why pay to advertise people you can just email? And that's a good question. And it basically comes down to not emailing your list too often. I would suggest you email your list, but after that, you might want to market on Facebook. I mean, there's a lot of data that says it takes 6 to 7 times. The person has to be exposed to an offer 6 to 7 times before actually making a purchase. And so if you only email your list twice, maybe they're still on the fence. And so then you use the Facebook custom audience to remarket to your audience with maybe an incentive. And that's what I would do is I would offer an incentive like a bonus to the people on the fence. That would kind of push them over the edge. Yeah, so let me actually show you what happens. Oh, cancel. So what I would do is, did I export this? Yeah, I think I did. Okay, So let's actually go to Power Editor and I'll show you what happens. So we're in Power Editor, and I'm going to select audiences, and I'm going to select create audience, custom audience, and I'm going to select file, choose file, and I'm just going to enter in 52, the number from the file. Okay, and we'll say people who clicked on a traffic magnet. And then these are emails, right? They're different than user IDs. So what Facebook's going to do is they're going to take these emails and they're going to see, okay, which of these emails have Facebook accounts. So let's select create. Oh. So some of these, oh, I uploaded the wrong file. But basically, it says 94 out of 1,706 of these emails were uploaded. And so that's a pretty low match rate. Usually it's a lot higher, and I think it's because there's an error in the Excel file. But basically what Facebook does is it looks at the emails that are on your email list and it matches it with Facebook accounts to those emails. And now you can remarket to those. And those ads are very, very low. And so this week what I'll do with the weight loss campaign is I'll start segmenting it and creating these custom audiences, and I'll share the results with you and basically how you would do it. Because marketing is all about getting the right message to the right person at the right time. Everyone is not in the same step of the buying process. So hopefully this is making sense. And I know this is a lot of information, but it's really important information too. Okay. So like I said, all these segments can be uploaded into Facebook custom audience to remarket to with a different message. Okay, so we'll carry on here. So segmentation we're going to get into in more detail next week. I'll either post a step-by-step video of me doing that with the weight loss this week or sorry, tomorrow, or I'll show you on the webinar next week. We'll have another webinar next week. Okay, sales page and conversion rate. All right, so let's, for example, start looking at this. So in our email follow-up sequence and in all the emails we send to our list, to the people on our list, we can actually now see through the segmentation and through the reports, you can see how many people have clicked on your links, and you can see whether people are purchasing, and that comes down to tracking. So what I didn't get into in the first few training days because we just didn't have, there was just too much to kind of go over, was kind of a little bit about tracking. So I want to talk about ClickBank offers here and tracking ClickBank offers. So obviously there's 3 points in which I present a specific ClickBank offer. After they opt in, and then in email 4 and 5 of my follow-up funnel. Well, I would like to know at what point people purchase because that's going to help me optimize my campaign better. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's go to ClickBank here. So if we go to ClickBank and you just select whatever category you're in, and we'll go find the cellulite product. Okay, so Kickbutt Cellulite Redux. So if you just go to the marketplace section in ClickBank and you select promote, basically you want to enter in a ClickBank ID. Okay. And then you can enter in a tracking ID. So what I would do is I would create different tracking IDs for the different areas in my funnel. So when someone opts into my email list and they get presented with the pre-sale page, I might call this tracking ID pre-sale. And I'll select create a link. And you can see how it adds this to the end of the campaign. It says pre-sale. And next week, I'll actually incorporate this week. And next week, I'll show you in analytics how to determine where the sales come from. And I would just do that a few times. I would do that for email 4 and email 5. So I might say email 4 or whatever email it is in your series funnel. So this is just going to provide you more data into terms of where people are coming from so that you're more aware of how the offers are converting, okay? And if, this is really important, if after 100 clicks from your emails to a specific offer, you don't have a sale yet, I would consider that that maybe is not a good offer for your list. It's not triggering the right emotional response, and I would test something else. And I noticed that there's been a number of questions in the Facebook group about, what price point of product should you promote first? And I would actually suggest promoting under a $30 product first, ideally. You can test higher, but I find that the conversion rate under $30 products is better. And like I said, you can track that based on how many clicks you get and whether you're actually getting a sale. Okay, and so in the next session, we'll actually analyze using those tracking IDs, and I'll show you how to use the analytics to find out where in your sales funnel you're triggering sales, where you're not, because by doing that, you're able to figure out what's working and what's not. So again, it's just greater leverage points. Let's see here. Lots of good responses here. Okay. So, guys, has this been helpful so far? Have you enjoyed this webinar? I've seen a lot of really good positive comments on here, but there's a lot of gold nuggets, I think. I mean, I know that you're going to get much better results by implementing just even one thing from this training webinar. It's really one thing you can take away is about identifying leverage points in your business and figuring out how to increase your conversion rate. It's not always just about reducing cost per click. It's not always about the ad. It could be about increasing your conversion rate on your landing page, increasing your email open rate. These little things can make massive, massive, massive differences. And I really think that this is a money webinar because if you start implementing some of these things, your results are going to change overnight. And I'm really excited to start seeing this stuff in the mastermind group and start seeing conversation extend outside of just ads, which is good, but also talk more about this other stuff. So we're getting a lot of positive feedback here, which is great. So guys, this is recorded. I will get the slides up as well. Sandra says, cool webinar from our Facebook princess. That's funny. So basically what we're going to do is today I was actually going to talk about dark posts as well, newsfeed and dark posts, but I didn't collect as much data as I would like. I still have the best results on right hand ads. Dark posts are pretty cool, so next time I'll talk about those. And basically every week or every 2 weeks, depending on holiday schedule and all that stuff, we'll basically continue to talk about drilling down deeper into the leverage points in our ongoing campaigns. And so next week, I'm excited to share with you basically the leverage points of okay, using the tracking IDs, seeing where the offers are being triggered, where people are buying, seeing how our list grows, continuing to segment our list. I'll also post the hot seats, and I haven't forgotten about our competition. The two Erics have just been killing it. They're doing amazing, both the results, but also with case studies and sharing. There's also a ton of other people in there that are providing so many great case studies and pieces of advice and help. So keep that up. So I'm gonna post today a nomination for nominating contenders for winning the prize, the grand prize for that competition. So I haven't forgotten about that. I'm really looking forward to that and added a few prizes as well. And I'll also add hot seats for the next session as well. So you can have a hot seat application and we'll start focusing in on the issues that you're having and see how I can help there. All right. No problem, Sid. All the Erics, the third Eric as well. Okay, so guys, Mitch is asking, how did you use the desktop only targeting option? That's actually done through Power Editor. If you go into Power Editor, you can actually see. You can see the different sections. So you can see desktop right-hand column only. Also, if you just create an ad through the facebook.com/ad/create and you remove newsfeed, it will automatically be desktop only. So it's a really good question. Let's see here. Oh, a hot seat is basically just taking applications and basically narrowing in on problems you're having and helping you personally with your results. Yeah, so Brad's asking, can you show the breakdown of your sales in the weight loss funnel? Yes. So I did at the beginning of the webinar, but next week I'll go into even more detail because I'm going to implement those tracking pixels that will basically show you next week where the sales are coming from. For example, what percent are coming from the I'm having a bit of a blank here, from the pre-sale page, and what percent are coming from the specific emails within there. Yes, I will update the email sequence as well in the mastermind group. Okay, so I think that that's most of the questions. Someone's asking advantage of right hand ad versus newsfeed ad. So newsfeed ads, it's shareable, so you get that social benefit as well. People will share your post, but there's a specific way of going about doing it. There's benefits and there's positives and there's negatives, and I'll go over those next week. And yes, I'll put the link for the countdown clock in the group as well. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this webinar. I think that, like I said, that this is going to be probably one of the most highest return on investment webinars you have, but also the future webinars coming up as we continue to just drill down more intensely on targeting and results. So hopefully you're again enjoying this process. I love what I'm seeing in the group. It's awesome just to see everyone sharing and providing case studies and that sort of thing. So keep up that good work. I'll continue to participate in that group too, and we'll just continue doing these webinars for a few more weeks to go, and just helping each other out to help you guys get those results. So I'll post all the links and the resources in the mastermind group as well. Send an email out to everyone with the recording and all this stuff. So hang tight. I'll get that up within 24 hours, and have a really great day. Okay, take care, and I'll talk to you guys soon and see you in the mastermind group.